And the 3 plus 3 seconds.
Yeah, exactly. All right, guys. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. And today is the third day of 2021, and there's a lot going on. I think at the forefront right now, really, there's a couple of things. The Georgia elections is definitely in the front of the news cycle because it looks like that the Democrats did a sweep. That I know they called one of the seats. I forgot which of the candidates was called, but I know they're waiting on one more because the race is really tight. But it looks like the Democrats are going to win, and because of that, a lot of different sectors are popping. For instance, clean energy. I've got up right now ENPH, FSLR, FCEL, and plug. These are names that are popping this morning. My favorites, oh, and JKS. My favorites are ENPH and JKS. These are going to be on my A list of trades today. ENPH gapping up into all-time highs. The stock closed yesterday at 181.48. It's at $196 right now in pre-market. Actually, right about to break out of its pre-market highs. So it's running really hot right now. So with that being said, we've got to wait for a setup here. We've got to wait maybe for a reversal, pivot, run higher, breakout of pre-market highs. I would prefer a pullback on it just because buying it at such a high price, you could be at risk of a nasty pullback, maybe from some profit taking. So I'm really going to be patient with this one. I'm going to wait for a nice clean setup before I go long the stock. The energy sector, guys, is running hot. And the reason why is because the Democrats are favorable to increase, just favorable regulations, right, for clean energy. So with that being said, look at EMPH, look at JKS, Plug, FCEL, FSLR. These names, you can trade them. My favorite two are EMPH and JKS. So JKS, I like the little pullback that it's got. Pre-market high is $70.31. If this stock just wants to rip higher and break out, perfect. It's already had a little bit pullback right now in pre-market at $69.50. And I would love to go long and take JKS long. So these are two energy names that are going to be on my A list. And something a little different today for me are the banks. I normally don't trade the banks very often. Yesterday I traded Goldman Sachs. Today I like Bank of America and I like JPM. Why? The 10-year yield is crossing above 1%. And that's really important. Why is that important? Because banks like JPM and Bank of America make interest income from higher yields, right? Mortgage rates are going to go higher. So these two banks are very big beneficiaries of that. You can also throw in their Citigroup and other banks that are in the sector. So I like Bank of America. Bank of America is a cheap stock, 31 bucks. Risk is very low in my opinion. Reward could be great. Pull up a 1-year chart on this, on the daily chart. Bank of America filled the gap, $30.58, gapping up higher. I think this stock has room potentially today to 31.60 and change. Long-term wise, I think you can even swing Bank of America. This is a nice setup, nice recovery. I would not be surprised if within 3 to 6 months we see Bank of America anywhere between $32 and $34, in my opinion. So Bank of America is actually not a bad setup to add to your portfolio if you wanted to swing it. From a day trade perspective, Bank of America, just keep in mind, doesn't move that much very often. Like yesterday, I think it only moved, like the total range was just like, let me see, 29, so 60 cents, right? So,
Yeah.
that's one thing to consider about a stock like Bank of America. It doesn't have a lot of range. So if you're going to get in on this one, you kind of have to sometimes take a little bit of a big size so that you can really feel the move if you capture, 20, 30, 50 cents on it. So that's one thing to consider. But if you want a stock that has more range, JPM. I mean, JPM closed yesterday at 125.65, gapping up to 129. I like the small pullback that it's got. If JPM has got some true strength and wants to rally, we can buy JPM, put your stops at 128.30. and this stock can potentially break the pre-market high. So out of the banks, I do like JPM the most, and I am going to keep that one as my A list. Another name for me, Tesla. I mean, come on. We've been trading Tesla, I feel like every single day for like the past month, and it's for a good reason. I know it's an expensive stock. I know the options contracts are expensive as well, but man, if you can get your hands on this stock or the call options or puts, whatever strategy we're playing, it could pay you big time, man. I mean, the stock closed yesterday at $735. Morgan Stanley comes out with an $800 price target, the highest price target on Wall Street, and their bull case is like $1,200. It's insane. You can't fight this. You cannot fight.
Yeah.
This Tesla is a freight train. This is the definition of a freight train. And what do? You hop on that shit. You don't short it. You don't ignore it. You hop on it. You trade it. Make money off of it. So Tesla is in play today as well, and it's going to be on my A list. So I really like it. So one other name that I really like are the gaming stocks. DraftKings. I was watching DraftKings right here when it had a really nice tight bull flag. It was a 30-cent bull flag consolidation, and then it just ripped to 51.40. I like the pullback that it's got. It's run up pretty significantly already. And right before we went live for this analysis on CNBC, Jim Cramer and a bunch of other analysts were just saying that New York, once they make it official that you could legally gamble, in sports betting, all the other states in the country are going to follow suit. Why? Because they are not going to want to miss out on the revenue that could be generated for their state. So that's why they were saying that DraftKings and Penn are both long-term buy opportunities, and I believe them. I last year swung DraftKings, and I made a really nice profit off DraftKings, and I like it as a day trade today. And let me see the long-term chart on this. I wouldn't even mind probably initiating a swing position on it too. It is kind of in a range that it's been in since September, so I would like maybe a little bit more of a breakout of 56, and then to test all-time highs. But if you wanted to swing this, you could start a small position on it and probably put your stops at 44, in my opinion. So that's what I would do if I were to start a swing position today on it. But from a day trade perspective, if we see this stock rip past 51.40, don't just stare at it. Go long. You can put your stops at 50.34, so that'd be about $1 risk per share. If you trade options contracts, just keep in mind of the volatility and what contracts do you get your hands on, especially if you're playing this Friday expiration. A $1 pullback on this Friday expiration could hurt, so just be careful with that. But DraftKings is definitely in play today. Another name that I like that kind of went a little nutty right when Taj and I went live, Roku. I like Roku today because it got a nice price target upgrade, $400. News came out the other day that they made an acquisition for Quibi, right? So they're just expanding their content portfolio and their streaming. And Roku is hot, man. This is a name that can move big time. Yesterday it had a nice move from 320 and closed at 335. It had a really weird reaction today. This morning at like 9 o'clock. This stock rallied up to 349, but the spreads were like $3 to $4. So that could be extremely dangerous. That's the primary reason why I do not trade in pre-market, especially when there's low volume on a stock, because only like 20. That was only what 10,000 shares, 38,000 shares that created that whole move. That's crazy. That can get you in big trouble. So with that being said, I do think Roku is going to be in play today. For me personally, Roku would need to hold the 326 level. If it breaks below 326, it could have more downside. Keep in mind that the tech names are getting hurt today. The NASDAQ is down, I think, 1.5 or 1.7%, while the Russell 2000 is gapping up. Small caps are gapping up today. They have got the biggest strength. And the S&P is slightly down as well. Me personally, I kind of think that this is a buying opportunity. this is a knee-jerk reaction to, the Democrats wanting to, increase tax hikes and, just kind of put more regulations on the tech names. I kind of get the sense that these names will get bought out today. I could be wrong. That's just my personal feeling, but I'm going to trade the charts, right? So I am going to keep an eye on one tech name specifically, which is going to be Microsoft. I like the setup on Microsoft. If Microsoft breaks above 214.85, definitely go long. We can probably gap fill this name. So that's the one tech name I'm really going to follow. And of course, Tesla and Roku. All the other names are going to be banks and clean energy and gaming stocks. Those are my favorite names today. So Taj, let me pass it on to you, brother.
All right, awesome, man. Yeah, some really good plays there. I mean, look how much opportunity is across the board. I think a lot of Alex and I were talking earlier about, just how a lot of the sectors today are moving. So there are going to be plenty of opportunities with a multitude of names. So I'll even add to the list pot stocks. Mm-hmm. Look at your Tilray. Kron could be another one. I forget the name of the other one that we traded as well.
ACB?
But ACB would be another one. But for me, I'm going to keep an eye on...
Could you say it again, please?
Sorry, Siri.
Shut up, Siri.
So, so the one I'll be keeping a close eye on is Tilray. The thing I really like about Tilray is if you look in the past, Tilray was obviously a stock that just went insane. I believe it was a couple years ago.
Yeah.
It ran up to $300. Not saying that's going to happen, but just the potential that this stock has if it can really get some momentum going. So if you actually look at the pre-market data, Tilray hit a high of $11.50. The most recent high in the past few months was right here, $12.15 back on November 9th. So if we can break out above that, Tilray really has no big resistance for, let's see, I don't know, $20, somewhere around there, $20, $16, $18. The point is, there's a lot of room for this stock to run, especially it being so cheap, right? So I'll be watching Tilray to see if it can break above like 11.30, 11.50. 11.50 would give me a little more, confidence with the trade. And see if we can test that most recent high right there at 12.15. So Tilray is definitely going to be at the top part of my list. Would it be a potential swing for Tilray? Yes, it could be, but just keep in mind that you are buying at an expensive price, quote unquote, an expensive price for the stock. So the only way it would work out is it actually needs to hold these price levels and break out. So just keep that in mind. So if you are going to swing it, just play it light and look for potential reward that way. Another name I like is QS. We discussed in great detail yesterday about QS. Hey, is today going to be a relief bounce, or is it going to be a relief bounce that turns into a rally? Well, today it looks like, and combined with yesterday, it looks like it's turning into an actual rally. So if you look at that low that it put in yesterday, right around, what was that, $47, it actually broke a little below the prior low from Thursday, or Monday, bounced back up, closed right at the high, and now we're gapping up about 3.5 points, or 4 points actually. And if you actually look at the pre-market data, we're having a nice bull flag with a potential breakout right here at 63.90. So this could be a stock that we potentially play out the gates. We could look for longs at 64, those stops around 62. Let's see if this sucker can run. I mean, the gap to fill is pretty nuts. The low of this is $84. So that shows you the type of range that we have on this name. The 8 MA is at $91.75. The 20 MA is at $80. So there's plenty of room for the stock to run. Not saying it's going to hit those prices today, but hey, maybe it could hit 60, 67, 68, 70, somewhere around there. So QS will also be at the top of my list. NEO, glad you brought up NEO. That was also at the very top of my list. So what I really like about NEO is look at what's happened over the past couple of days here with NEO. Yesterday specifically. Yesterday you were actually able to test the Monday lows right? And as soon as it tested those lows, NEO took off. You had a nice rally, and it closed right near Monday, not just high day, but right near Monday's highs of 54.45. And I like what we have going on today is we actually have a little bit of a gap up happening right around that $54 price range. So if we can break out above, 54.45, I think there's a good chance that maybe we can high 57.20. Not saying that can happen today, but hey, if Neil wants to be strong and continue this momentum, yesterday was kind of that reset day with the pullback. Maybe we can catapult and test that high. So I'll definitely be keeping an eye on NEO, especially considering the news coming out about the elections. That should really help out not just NEO but the EV sector as a whole.
Yep.
So definitely keep an eye on NEO, especially if you don't have the capital or the risk parameters to trade a stock like Tesla. Now, with that being said, Tesla is definitely one of the names at the top of the list. I mean,
yeah. Come on,
you
have to. There's no choice.
Yeah, there's no choice. Like, if you can, try to find a way to trade this thing, because it's just, I mean, look at it. Look at it over the past few days, or even over the past few months. The stock has just been on fire, gapping up nearly 30 points today. And, usually I would say, hey, that's a, kind of an excessive gap up. But with Tesla, what is an excessive gap up at this point? It seems to gap up and go. So let's keep an eye on Tesla. Right now, we have a nice bull flag actually forming with actually a small risk.
Yep.
You can actually look long at 764 if those stops like 760.
Yep.
A 4-point risk on Tesla, a $760 stock. That's actually a very small risk, considering the setup that it is right into all-time highs. So take advantage of that. You can trade Tesla. Give it that shot. Stay within your risk parameters. Obviously, don't be risking more than you need to. But the setup's there. So now we just need the confirmation to happen when the market opens, and not before the market opens. Hopefully that doesn't happen. I really like DraftKings as well. It's same thing, very similar to QS. You're having a nice bull flag form here during the pre-market, and there it goes.
There it goes.
Right on.
Bye.
Right on.
Bye, DraftKings. Just broke pre-market high.
Yep, just broke the pre-market high, and here comes the rally. So we may have to wait a little bit for this. Hopefully we get a pullback, maybe right out of the gates, and then we can just play it right back as it breaks above 51.50, 51.60, and look for another long. But that's also one of the names at the top of my list. I really like the volume that it's putting in during pre-market. That's showing that it's actively, very heavily traded. So we won't have to worry about whether this move is real or not. Obviously, it's real because there are a lot of traders having their hand in it.
Yep.
So that's also going to be at the top of my list. So I have about 4 or 5 names that are at on my A list. The B list names are obviously going to be the Apple, the overall market. I do want to keep an eye out, on Fubo, just because of the price action that it had yesterday. If that downward momentum is going to continue, it tried to have a rally and then completely gave it out throughout the trading day, specifically in the afternoon. Actually had a hard sell-off. It's gapping up a little bit, about a point, but I just want to keep an eye on it to see if some momentum starts picking up on it. But the good thing about a day like today is you don't really need to have a B list. There's so many A-list setups. Your Tilray, your QS, your NEO, your Tesla, DraftKings, right? JKS, ENPH, JPM. All of these names could be considered A-list setups because the sectors themselves are hot.
Right.
So I wouldn't even worry too much about the B-list names. Focus on those A-list names. Pick a few names that we've mentioned and just key in on those.
Yep.
So that's pretty much going to be it for me. So out of the gates, I'll be watching QS and NEO, and then those will be the 2 main names that I watch, and then also DraftKings, Tilray, and Tesla.
Yeah. No, today is going to be really, really hot. And let me take a moment to say something here. There's a lot of names that Taj and I both like, and he's got his A list, I've got my A list, and we've got B lists, right? Because it's only human. We can't manage 10 to 12 different stocks that we're watching. I mean, I personally can kind of keep an eye on 6 at a time. Taj, I assume, is around the same. So we go through this pre-market analysis, guys, so that you can mark up your own charts. Let's say my A-list is not your A-list. Maybe you like some other names that I don't have on my A-list. So what should you be doing while we do this pre-market analysis? Mark up your charts. Mark up support and resistance zones. And that way, if the move is happening, don't wait on us to flip our charts and to make the call. Take the trade, because you already know what to do since we went over the trade idea in pre-market, right? Because sometimes all it takes is a split second or 5 seconds for you to be delayed on executing a trade, and that can mean a lot of profits that you've missed out on. So just keep that in mind, guys. And there goes ENPH popping right in my face. 2 points. Thank you very much. JKS.
Oh my goodness.
JKS popping in my face. Everything is just going bananas. So we just have to wait for the setup, guys. Yeah, Carlos, thank you for sharing that. These are some cheaper stocks that you can play in the solar sector. CSIQ, DQ, Run. Nice, man. Thank you for sharing that. So you've got the theme, you've got the idea. Mark your support and resistance zones, and I think today's going to be solid. Yesterday, I had a tough day. I finished my day at 2 p.m. My P&L was up and down like crazy because I sat back and I studied and I reviewed. I was not respecting my risk-reward ratios. I was going a little bit too big yesterday. So I share that with you guys because I encourage you to revisit your game plan, your daily goals, your risk management, and don't allow what happened to me yesterday to happen to you today. All right? So let's make it a great day. And for everyone watching on YouTube, thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you guys tomorrow.